Good afternoon, one-year program professional participants. Welcome to this call. It is Tuesday, and it's my privilege to be on the call with you today as the mindset coach. And just a little mental note, a reminder that next week it will be your Waymarker coach, and the week after that it will be all 5 coaches in the room again. So we will have all 5 coaches again in the room the week after in 2 weeks' time. So make a mental note, make sure that you're in the room in 2 weeks' time. And then we will start the cycle again, and we will have a cycle with every one of the coaches for the next 5 weeks until the 13th of December, I think. And then we will close for December, and we will start again on the 10th of January with all 5 coaches in the room. We're very excited about a little bit of break and holiday. But we also know that we have an obligation to our participants. So we will start again on the 10th of January, all of us in the room. So welcome to today's call, and welcome to everybody that made the effort to be on the call. I know Valerie is still in transit somewhere. She will be on the call imminently, but we are here. I see Tashius has joined us. Hello, Tashius. It's cool to see you here. But let's go and focus on today. And today, I would like to talk to you as the mindset coach, and that I use Think and Grow Rich as my manual. And I see that we this year going to use Tashius as Christmas father. Tashius, that beard is coming along nicely. But so I want to go back to Think and Grow Rich. And today, I would like to just go grab something that is so appropriate for this time. And when we again see you in the room with all the coaches in 2 weeks' time, remember next week, the Waymarker coach, the week after that, when we see you in the room with all the coaches, we will conclude 2022 with you. We will prepare you to prepare for 2023. Can you believe it? We're already preparing for 2023. What an amazing time it is, an opportunity it is for us again. But in concluding the year, in getting your business, all your office activity, your work, maybe you're employed, maybe you're the CEO of a company, maybe you rendering a professional service, maybe you sell a product. It doesn't matter. You have to conclude 2022. And in that preparation, we as the coaches will come together the second week in November on our last all 5 coaches in the room meeting for 2022. And we will start working towards preparing you for this, just looking in the rear view mirror for the year, and then for you to be able to plan for 2023. Because if you don't look in the rear view mirror and you don't know and identify which you have to change, how will you be better in the new year? But I would like to go back to Napoleon Hill today and just take a little extract. And I've prepared a document that I've already loaded into WhatsApp. And yes, WhatsApp is back on air, so we will be able to send that to you. And I will send you a WhatsApp while we're busy with this meeting, because it's already loaded into WhatsApp to send to you on the one-year program communication channel. Hello, Val. And I will just push the button for you to receive that document, because I want to today, as the mindset coach, want to start you in the process of concluding 2022 before we start preparing for 2023. Because remember, the way that you finish, the way that you conclude, the way that you use, the way that you apply the rear view mirror will help you a lot in going forward in your planning, in your goal setting, in all your planning, activity planning for the next year. And we never look too far ahead. We always plan for 1 year, but quarterly, monthly, weekly, so that we build up to the year. But allow me to read this to you. And it's just the paragraph before I get to what I want to do. So this is just an introduction to what I want to do, or paragraph that I want to read to you. Hello, Stephen. I see that you're on the call as well. Your financial requirements for once have nothing whatsoever to do with your worth. And I want to reiterate it. And that's on page 119 in my book. Your financial requirements or wants have nothing whatsoever to do with your worth. Now, I would like to just, before going over to the subject that I want to discuss today, leave that with you. Your value is established entirely by your ability to render useful service or your capacity to induce others to render such service. And your financial requirements, your wants and your needs, has got nothing to do with your worth. And your value, not your worth, your value is established by the useful service that you render, whether it's in the capacity to get others to render useful service or you're using useful service yourself. So that's just a little edification, a little help for you, a little putting it in the back of your mind. Now, what I want to discuss today, and which will lead onto the document that I will send you on WhatsApp this now, is take inventory of yourself. And I'm on page 120 in Think and Grow Rich, where there's 28 questions that you should answer. Now, Napoleon Hill is a master in understanding how to get you to act in little increments. But all those little increments, if he understands the way or the process of getting people to just act, just give the next step. If you're tired, don't quit, rest. If you're tired and you have to take a few more steps, slow down, take a deep breath, catch yourself again, and just give one more step. And Napoleon Hill understands it. It's not achieving anything or having to achieve the goal today or having to achieve all your goals in this year. Maybe there's something that you have to push over to next year. But the key is you have to be congruent with yourself. You have to be congruent. And I am one of those funny guys that every year look back at the previous year and I go and see what I accomplished, which goals that I've set in the previous year, worked out which goals that I have to change during the year, which goals that I achieve fully, which goals that I overachieve in, and which goals have I underachieved in, so that I can help myself in doing it better in the planning for the new year. And I can be very tough on myself, but I can also be very congruent on myself and see where it was externally imposed on me. But sometimes I have to be honest to myself and say, you know what, but you just haven't done enough in this space. You just haven't done enough in this area. You just underachieved in this. You slipped up. And it's important for you and I to understand that. It's important for you and I to be okay with that. It's important for you and I to be okay with ourselves, to be congruent and sometimes take a hiding. But giving yourself a hiding for something that you haven't done, you haven't been good enough at, will not help you anything going forward. So go sit, acknowledge it, take the hiding mentally for yourself for that little moment. You say, you know what, now I'm over this. I understand that I underachieved in that area, and it's cool that I understand it. It's cool that I can acknowledge it to myself. Now, what are the steps that I'm going to implement? What are the plans that I'm going to create for me not to fail in this again? And then you just do it. And for me personally, sometimes I just have to go and do things. I just have to go and do. I will take something that I did underachieve in, and I'll put it in front of mind. I will put it on my desk, and I will literally get out of the boat and I will walk on water to go and do and achieve it. I will grab the bull by the horns and make that phone call. I will go do the work. I will stay late. I will, whatever it is, because for me, it is a positive. It's not a negative. Whenever I have to acknowledge to myself that there's something that did not happen according to plan, there was something that I did not achieve according to what I'm capable of. For me, it's a positive. It's not a negative. For one moment, I acknowledge it. I sit with myself and say, but I don't go into a 2, 3, 4 week negative and don't chase myself all the time and tell myself that you're not good enough. I get over it quickly and I just continue. And I know sometimes I have to work at it. It's not that I have this personality that just go over it and it's done. I have to take my thoughts captive. There's a scripture that say that it's a commandment. We have to take our thoughts captive. And I have to take control over that. And sometimes I have the ability. Sometimes I do spend a little bit of time, a day or two on it. I mull the reasons for what happened, what occurred, why. But you have to get over it. It doesn't help any person if you stay there. So Napoleon Hill tells us here, an annual self-analysis is an essential in the effective marketing of personal services, as in is annual inventory in merchandising. So Napoleon Hill is telling us that if you were in a business where you have certain stock and stock sheets, and you will go look at your stock sheets and you will always be on top of your stock sheet and you will always know exactly what stock you have, what stock you carry, what stock you short on, what stock you need to go fill up on, what stock you need to order rest next, what stock is used more in this cycle, what stock you have to go. The same for yourself, for your personal ability. So we have to go look at ourselves. We have to go look at our stock sheet. And that's what this take inventory or self-analysis questionnaire of Napoleon Hill is about. And he says, moreover, the yearly analysis should disclose two things. One of the two is decrease in faults. So my yearly analysis should show me two things. The one is decrease in faults. So this year, when I do my self-analysis, I should do better on my faults. Why? Because I identified it last year and I worked on it and I've spent a year planning and doing better on it. And the second one is an increase. So a decrease in faults and an increase in virtues, an increase in what I can bring to the table for the next year, an increase in what I have to offer, an increase in my ability to do, an increase in my will to perform, an increase in my way of following the process, an increase in my energy levels to draw people with me, to do it with me. And it's imperative that we just understand that one goes ahead, one stands tall, or one goes backward in life. So you decide. So when I do my self-analysis, I say, you know what, compared to last year, and I never compare myself to someone else. I used to be in that game as a young person. I could self-pity seriously, and I could have self-pity parties like nobody's business. So I majored in that, but I got over that. I understand how to get my mind out of that. It's not a default setting anymore. It used to be a default setting in me when I was younger, is to go and pity myself, and it's always someone else's fault. It's never me. It's always something else. But the key is, when I go and do the self-analysis, I see whether I've gone ahead. Which areas have I gone ahead? And I actually give myself kudos in those areas. And then which areas did I stand still? Which areas that I did not digress, go backwards, or go forward? Because those are dangerous areas, because it's the areas that you missed out on. It's the areas that you did not add something to your plate, to your virtue. And then we go to see which areas did I go backwards in. And sometimes you have to be honest to yourself and say, you know what, in this area, I actually, in my plans for this year, thought that I will develop better in this area. I will have better outcomes. And sometimes it's just because we don't give ourselves enough time in the marketplace in that area. It is a product, something that you want to push. It's something that you want to go do. It's something that you want to learn, but you don't spend enough time with people, like-minded people in that space. You don't allow yourself people to rub shoulders with. Then you will not develop. You will go backwards in that area. And the key is to use all the principles, and not just yourself, but to go use all the principles. Remember, Napoleon Hill teaches us about specialized knowledge. I don't have to have all the specialized knowledge, but I can go find someone with that specialized knowledge, and I can go tap into their specialized knowledge. And the easiest way to pull them in is to create a mastermind. Where will in which area will I be able to add value to them? Because it's always a trade-off of value that must go both ways. Where will I add value? Where will I be able to be of value for them in their lives? And sometimes it's just an ear. The biggest value you can have for some people with specialized knowledge is just someone that's willing to listen to them. Because a lot of these clever people, these specialized knowledge people, these people that excelled in life, they are at a pain when no one is willing to listen to them, because everyone thinks they're below them. Everyone thinks they're on this pedestal. And by just allowing yourself the space to go and listen to them and go and be there and be an ear to them, show them the value in you. And you have a lot more value than you think to add in masterminds. I get a lot of people asking me, but a mastermind must have value to both ways. You know what? Sometimes your value in a mastermind can be the one that sits on the side and just takes everything in and allow the puzzle to build up in your mind with regards to that, and then just give them your input from the side. And because they've never looked at it from that side, because they have all the knowledge, they don't have to revisit that. They've been there, they've done that, they know what's happening. Just because you come from the side and give them a little bit, that is your value in the mastermind. But I'm back in the book. Your annual self-analysis should be made at the end of each year, so you can include your New Year's resolutions and any improvements that the analysis indicates you should make. So why do we do this? Why do I have this in this session? Now, in the next combined session with all the coaches, every coach will combine in the group session of coaches. We will help you to get 2022 concluded, every coach on their field. We will help you combined when we're in the same room. But then every coach will have a Tuesday session where that coach, that specific coach in the vertical that coach is in, help you to conclude 2023 and set you up for success, for planning for help you to conclude 2022 and set you up for success in 2023. Because that's how we plan this as coaches, with the last session that we will have for you before we close for the year. So that in January, when we get together, we will be in the room together and we will start the program in January, and we will be on top of it as the coaches will on 10th of January be all in the room to start off, to kick off your year. But on the 10th of January, you cannot then go and plan for 2023. That's after the fact. You should have planned for it. So myself, November, I spent on myself. I spent in the rear view mirror. December, I spent looking through the windscreen. December, I pull everything that I've seen in the rear view mirror. I pull it forward. I make it part of the plan of viewing through the windscreen, if I can use that analogy, because the year that's passed is rear view mirror. So I have to spend time there. I have to self-analyze. I have to go do the business analysis so that I can go and look through the windscreen and plan for 2023, so that I can put up my heads-up display on my windscreen that will tell me exactly what's happening, because we're now in a time with technology where we can have a heads-up display on our windscreen if you have a car that can do that. So I want to conclude my input in the session today and say that this annual self-analysis that you should make at the end of the year is, you should now determine, if it's the only thing you do today, is determine by when you're going to do it. I don't say you have to go do it now. Some industries, like the building industry, are in total chaos now because every bit of work is happening in the last quarter of the year in that industry. I mean, they have a very slow start in the beginning of the year, and I just use that as an example. The building industry always have a very slow start in the first quarter. The second quarter, some of them wake up. The third quarter, most of them are awake. And the fourth quarter, everyone wants everything delivered in the second quarter of the previous year, not in this year either. And for them, it's difficult. Those guys cannot now go and do self-analysis. They're not in a place where they can now go and sit in the rearview mirror. They just running through the windscreen, but they only start in January, late February. So they have time to do a thing. So where are you? Where do you slot into this time frame with where you are as an individual? Are you at a space where you can start? It is the 25th of October. Monday coming is, we start the Monday coming is the 28th. So next week we start the new month of November. And where are you? When should you go and do your self-analysis? And that's why I wanted to do it today and not in the session that I have with you in as the last session of the year after 2 weeks time when all the coaches in the room. On that session, I want to go tackle something different. But I would really encourage you to, before I see you again in the room when I'm with you, which will be in 2, 3, or 4 weeks time, that you go and spend a little bit of time on this self-analysis, that you purely just go read through this. And you know what, sometimes you just read the sentence and you do nothing. You just allow that sentence to sink in and you do nothing and you read it again. And you do nothing and you allow it to sink in and you read it again. And then you take a piece of paper and a pen and you just write what's coming front of mind. And you start with that process. So if we go look at the self-analysis questionnaire for personal inventory, it's questions like, and I will send you the Word document. I've typed it out on a Word document. I'll send you the Word document so that you can work on it. I'm not sending you the PDF because I want you to be able to work on it. So it is a Word document, the format that I send it to you in, and you will be able to type your name on top of it, type in there, it's my inventory for 2022, and start and type in there. If you're the person that type, if you're a person that write, you just create spaces on the page before you print it and you allow yourself space to write. But whatever you fancy, I've just put it in a Word document so it's easier for you. The first self-analysis question here is, have I attained the goal which I established as my objective for this year? Have I attained the goal? So remember, in every beginning of the year, we have one goal that we work towards. But within there, we have various different goals. And maybe your goal is one main theme for the year, but you have 1 or 2 other goals for the year as well that are also a year-long goal, but that's not the main goal. So have I attained the goal which I established as my objective for the year? You should work with a definite yearly objective to attain as part of your major life objective. So an annual objective to go forward. And I know the business coach always talk to you about a 25-year plan, because if you have a 25-year plan and you can go break it down into quarters, you have a quarter in this 25 years, you have all those quarters will add you up to 100. So you have 100 quarters to achieve your 25-year goal. So you have 100 little slots to get to your 25-year goal. And all you have to do is you have to do 1%, one little quarter at a time. If you do 25 quarters, 100 quarters concurrently, those 100 quarters will culminate, that word, into 25-year program. So the questions, I want to read 2 more here. Number 4, have the spirit of my conduct been harmonious and cooperative at all times? And for me, that's one that I always stand still and have lots of time. That's why I use number 4 as an example. Have the spirit of my conduct been harmonious and cooperative at all times? And for me, that is one that I always spend time on. I don't know why. I always spend time on that one. I always get hooked on that one and spend a little bit of time. Because sometimes it's the area of development. And you will go find out of these 28, there's 28 questions, and you will go find out of these 28 questions, which are the ones that you spend more time on. Another one that is one that I have better achieved, one that I have less questions on because everything is recorded easy, is number 19, 19, the average age of the guy that died in Vietnam. We almost know that story of 19. Okay, but 19. Have I followed the habit of budgeting my time, my expenses, and my income? And have I been conservative in these budgets? So do you budget your time and your money? Do you budget? You only get 24 hours a day. Do you budget that the way that you do your financial budget? And as I said, that's one of the easier ones, the ones that I can achieve easier because I'm more in control there than maybe in my spirit of conduct. And I see that people are asking me for that document, and let me just press the send button. I've told you that I've set it up. I've pushed the send button, and now I know every one of you are on your phone. Willies, thank you. I saw the face going to your phone immediately, and I know all of you will now look at WhatsApp. But just to get Steve to stop asking. Oh, sorry, Steve, you say you look forward to doing the exercise. My apologies, Steve. I thought you said you should send the exercise. My apologies, Steve. I should read better, but I tried to concentrate on you guys. But now you all have it. Okay. So, William, I see that you said, yes, please. Sandile said, go. It is in the chat function. And I want to encourage you today. I want to encourage you today and say, guys, girls, 2022 was not as easy a year as we thought. We all thought that 2020 was the nemesis. I tell you, in 2020, at the end of 2020, when my wife, and she's on this call, I have to be congruent. When we looked at the end of 2020, in the middle of 2020, let alone the end, when we looked at the middle of 2020 to our goals that we set before COVID, remember, we did not know that COVID's going to happen in 2020. But if we look in July, August, I don't think we've done it in the middle of the month. Memory serves me right. We've done it end of July, August only. But when we looked at that, we achieved way above in the COVID year with lockdown, with nothing. Between the two of us, we achieved way above what we planned for that year. And that was in 2020. In 2021, that level of achievement just started curving off. And I'm congruent with you today. In 2022, that level of achievement has curved off further. We haven't overachieved than what we achieved in the COVID year. And we all thought, William, I see that you say yes for the Binance ticket. Sorry for all of you, I misunderstood that. William, you have just won yourself a Binance ticket for Atterbury Theatre tonight. I'll talk to you later. I have a ticket for you. Sorry, my apology. I've misunderstood that. Okay, cool. I'm now in the program again. But let me go back. I'm congruent with you. In 2020, we overachieved. We totally overachieved in what we planned for the year in COVID, because we were so cognizant of having to do stuff. We were so cognizant. We were all in lockdown, and we worked in my office more in the COVID year than any other time, because I've never been out of it. I've always been in the office. I've been on Zooms. I had the most amazing masterminds in COVID 2020. Remember, we created this one-year program in COVID 2020. We created this one-year program. It's a child of, we talked about it before, but we never done it. It's a child of what happened in COVID. And but for this year, and I'm going to do this self-analysis myself. Don't you think I just preach it to you? I'm going to do this self again. And that's why I could tell you which are the ones that I spend time on and which are the ones that's easier to answer for me. I will spend time on this. And I just, in my mind, am congruent with you to say that I have not. I really feel where I sit here, and maybe I'm surprised when I go sit and break it down into the little questions and go and put them on paper. But in my mind at this moment where I stand, I definitely did not achieve as much as I should have achieved in 2022. And it's just my overall feeling for this year. It's just that things happened and things happened, but not everything worked as we planned and tried for this year. But I want to encourage you, go and do the self-analysis questionnaire if you have time for it. If it's the time of the year that you should do it. I know, Sandile, you're an accountant. We have a number of accountants on here, but I see that our other accountant is not on the call. I know that you are very busy this time of year. Maybe you're busy with income tax or stuff or last finance, I don't know. But if this is not your time, that you have the time for it and you postpone it, just make sure that you don't not do it. I tell you, the value out of it, the richness, let me use this word, the richness that you receive for yourself out of doing this questionnaire is beyond what you think and comprehend now. If you haven't done it before, I will really say, I'll encourage you to go and do it. It will have a major effect on your life and on your planning for next year. It affects the planning. It affects the way that you attack your planning, the activity, by just going do that, be congruent with yourself. And you will see that you will build a little more in for stimulating and building this doubt box of yours as well, if you go do that. But enough said. I've preached enough today. Let me close the book and say I've unmuted the mics. If there's any one of you that would like to unmute the mic and add and say something and do something or whatever, please, this is the time to do this. You're welcome to unmute and participate. Is no one of you going to take the plunge to unmute? William, thank you at last.
Thank you, Daniel. Yes,
It's
so important what you say, and I just realized again the important success is achieved through following a systematic approach. And yeah, it is just dawned on me again the importance of that and making sure that I stick to it. That's, yeah, to me, very important.
Cool. Thank you, William. Yes, it's a combination of all those little things. And if I never go and find those little things, if I never go and be congruent, go look at it and go see where were the little foxes. The word talks about the foxes in the vineyard. If I don't go find those foxes, will catch me out in the new year again. So thank you for that one, William. I'm always worried when you unmute. If the psychologist is the first one to unmute, you always think twice or whatever. Okay, I'm just joking, William. We appreciate you. Willie, I see that you're unmuted.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Donnie. Yeah, I actually, on my way to work this morning, realized that, I thought to myself that in this year, I've seen enough gurus promoting a lot of stuff. I've seen a lot of people giving advice. I've seen a lot of guys giving streamlined guidance instead of all the guys giving you a lot of information. I've done training, I've done some courses, and I thought, I think I'm done with that now. It's now time to take action. And I'm actually thankful for the tool that you give us now, because this is what I needed at the right time, so I can actually put a plan in place on how I'm going to take the action in the new year. So thank you for that.
Cool. Thank you. And remember, this tool is just for your self-analysis to be prepared with a plan. And we as the coaches in 2 weeks' time will be together in the room, and we will, every coach from his vertical, we will have an angle of attack as the coaches. And then for the next 5 weeks, every coach will in their vertical help you to conclude 2022 and get into 2023 with the best possible plan on the table. And remember, most of all, we still have a Waymarker coach that's going to pound you with loads of Excel spreadsheets and stuff to go help you. This is just the start for all of that. Fred, I just want to say that Frederick has attended our world-class coach synergy on last week, Thursday. Memory serves me right, it was Thursday. Time goes past so quickly. Frederick, thank you for attending that synergy meeting, and we valued your contribution. And who's next on the unmute button? Sandile, I see that you've put on your camera, so maybe you can unmute today. You're still muted, buddy.
Yeah. Good day. Yeah. No, I think I'll share my sentiments with Willie now. I think I've attended as well a number of these seminars, but now it's time I take action. So yeah, I'm taking the action.
Cool. Thank you, Sandile. You know what? Me and the business coach had a long meeting this morning, and I encouraged the business coach, and the business coach encouraged me. And we this morning just had to come to each other and look each other in the eye, because we have a little project that we do together. And we had to just tell us that we're going to stop developing anything. We're going to stop, go find information. We're going to stop do research. We're going to stop creating something new. We're going to stop creating a program. We're going to stop anything. We're just going to take what we have and we're going to go and see clients with it. Sometimes it is like that I just have to stop, because that procrastination sits in my development. You know what? I need this stall. I need, if I can, and that's your procrastination, and that's your crutch to procrastinate and not to do. And sometimes we just have to get out of the boat. And this morning, when I and the business coach talked to each other, I just said, Broer, let's just get out of the boat on this project, and let's go and see clients with this thing. Let's just go walk on the water. If there's something that's not developed as we have in our mind, the level of development, we're not going to worry about that. We're going to see clients. And sometimes we just have to get out of the boat. And I would like to encourage you, son, take up the phone, make that phone call, make that difficult phone call to that client that you thought that's you have to still do something with. Make that phone call, get it out of the way, get the client on the books, make the money out of them, get some leads out of them, and have a brilliant one. Thank you, Sandile.
Yeah.
Someone else that would like to?
Thanks, Daniel.
Yes, Steve.
Yeah, I think it's this year I've spent the most money I've spent on myself in training in 10 or 20 years. I'm so glad I spent that money. I've had a really good year, lots of positive things to reflect on. Looking forward to doing the questionnaire, and what I'm really looking forward to is maybe like 10xing it next year and doing 10 times as well. Like you said, for that COVID year, you really made headway. So maybe that's going to be my goal, but I'm going to sit down and look at it very carefully. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you. Appreciate that contribution. And I would like to encourage you. And when you achieve that check-in, allow us to edify you and thank and do some gratification. And maybe we just check in and have a chat about achieving something, because that is always something that helps you to go and do the next step. Anyone else? There's some. Yes, you have not been unmuted. You are, as the implementation coach, I'm sure you're here to add some fuel to this fire.
Thanks, Donnie. I'm actually here because I'm able to attend, and who wants to miss a session with a mindset coach? No, one thing that just brought up with me, I'm usually doing this introspection in January, but I think just listening to the folks today and listening to yourself, Donnie, I've decided I've got to find a slot for this early in December to go through the 28. There's 28 questions. Yeah, go through those questions and ask yourself the hard questions and be honest, because in the week between Christmas and New Year, which is when I often started my process, that's when I've got to start getting the answers, not to ask myself the questions. So I'm going to be bringing that forward a bit. And I'm glad to hear that at least two folks, was it Willie and Sandile who were saying, yeah, it's time to put on the big boy pants and get the stuff done. That tying that up with what Stephen's also said about investing in yourself and learning and going through the motions. When you're ready, the teacher will appear, but at some stage you need to become the teacher. And even if that means that you're teaching yourself, and I can tell you unequivocally, every time I've stepped up and decided to teach somebody or show somebody or start demonstrating it, it's taken my own level of commitment a notch up, because suddenly I'm accountable. Yeah, from my side, knowing and not doing is not knowing. If I can end off with that, we can have all the knowledge in the world and Uncle Google is out there, but not having the wisdom to apply that knowledge and not doing it, not applying it, leave you spinning with your wheels spinning. You'll just stay where you are, and that's not where we want to be. That's not the reason why we're involved with each other. That's not why we're part of this mastermind, Donnie. Thanks for your pushing and saying when, I think, I can't remember when it was, but a while ago you said to me, you sat back and asked yourself the hard questions. Yeah. So thanks for that. We need each other. Thanks, folks.
Cool. Thank you, Tertius. Yes, guys, girls, those questions are tough questions. If you really go sit on those questions, there are some of them that you chew a few days on, eh? It's not easy. If you want to be congruent and not, remember, when you write down your answers, and Bella, I'll be with you now. I see that you've been unmuted. I've seen that Stephen has been unmuted again as well. I'll be with you guys now. And when I go sit with this, I use these little books and I write that book full. I use these little books. Otherwise, I just throw the papers away. I use those little books and I write in them. I've got stacks of them. But those questions, if you go do those questions, remember when you answer them, you answer those questions with no person will ever see that answer. But you don't answer it for someone else. You answer it for you. Your answer is for you, not for anyone else. Because if you go answer it for someone else, it's not the answer that it should be. Valerie, I've seen that you've been unmuted.
I thought I was going to slip by this one now. My moed het my begewe. Okay, one thing that I wanted to say is what Donnie said in the beginning is not to value your worth by how much money you're earning. And if I can say in 2020, when he did all that foundational work, that is what carried us through in the next 2 years. So never underestimate the value and the worth that you are adding to yourself while you are learning and while you're doing things. And the other one is that I would like to bring in just a little bit of from the lifestyle coach, that I did the disc profile a couple of days ago, just to repeat it and see how far I'm going. And I noticed that my drive is still the one that is the lowest on the whole category. If I can, so that's my area that I really need to work on in order to get better results. And together with this analysis that Daniel gave us, I've got homework to do. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Val. We appreciate you. Steve, I've seen that you've been unmuted, but you've given up on me. Stephen, go.
No, it was just a finger slip on the phone, but thank you.
Cool. Ladies and gentlemen, I had an opportunity to contribute. Thank you. Jason had to run, so he did not contribute, but I really appreciate you being on the call. I know it's time out of your diary. It's time that you could have done something different, and I trust that I've given you something that will go make you think, go make you change, go make you to change your plans for 2023, for you to have a year of abundance, because that's what's in store for you, a year of abundance. I bless you. I sent you, sorry, I see Tasha's ask the part of your worth, and Tasha's, I'll give you the answer now. I just need to go to my clip notes in my book. I'll send it to you.
Sorry to put you on the spot there, Donnie. I was typing it while Valerie was talking about it, and my typing is too slow.
It's about 100 and I'll send it to you now. It's just, if you find the self-analysis in the book, it's just the previous page at the bottom.
Okay.
Pull the number now. Guys, girls, I bless you. Have a good one. It was a privilege serving you today. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. Cheers. Thanks.